welcome back to my podcast, and today we're going to talk about the disappearance of Dulce Maria Alavez. So let's start. Dulce was born on April 25th, 2014. At the time of her disappearance, she was 5 years old. She was born to Noema Alavez Perez. Dulce really didn't have a father in her life, like her biological father. She did have a stepdad. Her biological father, according to her mother, believed that she wasn't his daughter. So some facts about Bridgetown, New Jersey, because that's where Dulce grew up and where she disappeared. So in Bridgetown, New Jersey, 1/3 of the population lives in poverty, and the average violent crime rate in Bridgetown is 119% higher than the national average. And in Bridgetown, there's like a big Hispanic community, I would say, and it's more Mexican, if we're specific, which is why Dulce's family lives there, because they're Mexican. She was born in the USA, but her ethnicity is Mexican. Okay, now let's get into what happened. So on Monday, September 16, 2019, Dulce and her mother, Noema, her younger brother of 3 years old, Manuel, and her aunt of that's age 8, entered a store to buy ice cream. This was prior to her disappearance. I'd say like a couple minutes, maybe like half an hour before disappearance, before they went to the park. As you can see right now, Dulce is getting some ice cream, as her mother said to the officers when she called the cops. The one in the blue, the little kid, if you can see him, that is Manuel. There she is carrying Manuel. Then you have the mother in the red right there, and the paying. And then we can see the other girl right there next to Dulce. That's her 8-year-old aunt, Camilla. So at around 4 p.m., Dulce and her family headed to the Bridgetown City Park. Soon as the mother got there, according to the mom, Dulce and her 3-year-old brother Manuel decided to go into the park. She sat in the car with her 8-year-old sister, which is named Camilla, which is Dulce's aunt. According to her, she was there because inside the car, not with them, because she was scratching a lottery ticket to see if she would win any money, and she was about to help her sister with some homework. So when she was there, she says everything was fine as soon as she couldn't have a straight sight of where Dulce and Manuel were. Now there's two resources that tell me. One says that one of the resources tells me that Manuel came to her without Dulce and then they went to look. And then there's another source that tells me that she went to look for them and just saw Manuel crying. I'm not sure which one is true. But either ways, Dulce was gone. When her mother went to look for her, Dulce was nowhere to be seen, so she immediately panicked and called 911. What I'm about to show you is the 911 call.
Yeah. 911, where's your emergency?
I can't find my daughter.
Okay, when was the last time you seen her?
We were here at the park, and people said that somebody took her.
Okay. How old is she?
She's 5 years old.
Okay, and what park are you at?
Here in Bridgetown Park.
Okay, where in the Bridgetown Park are you?
The one with the basketball court where high school is.
Okay, so you're at the basketball courts behind the high school?
Yes.
Okay. And what was she seen last wearing?
She was wearing, give me a second. I don't remember what clothes she was wearing, but she was wearing, I just remember her pants. She was wearing like a flowery pants and some heels, some white heels.
Okay, and your name? Okay. All right, ma'am, stay on the line. I'm going to transfer you over to the police, okay? And you said she was 5, correct?
Yes.
All right.
So, what you just heard was a 911 call released on October 3rd, where Noema called 911 after her daughter disappeared. As you can hear, she is really panicked. I mean, what mother wouldn't be panicked? Immediately after, the police came, canines came, and they were looking around like the whole park to see if Dulce could be found, but nothing. There was no outcome. Dulce was gone basically. She disappeared into thin air. She was nowhere. So immediately an Amber Alert was issued for Dulce Maria Alavez. They did suspect a car, red van, but I'll go into details on that later. But Amber Alert was issued. Throughout the weeks, there were more searches for her around more wide areas to see if Dulce could be found. But Dulce, it was like the little girl like disappeared. She was gone, and it's really heartbreaking. And Dulce Alaves was in the FBI's missing persons list. But the searches winded up into nothing. So from September 18th to September 24th, the community held prayer vigils that helped raise money for the reward if anybody comes forward of Dulce's disappearance. That was all. On Monday, September 30th, her mother, for the first time, spoke out to the press alongside with her mother, which is Dulce's grandmother. This sparked a little bit of outrage because many people started theorizing that the mother had something to do with Dulce's disappearance because of the way she was acting. But I'll show you the press conference and let you see yourself.
Everybody's very curious about Dulce's father. Can you tell us what you know as far as what's been going on the last 2 weeks since your daughter disappeared, as far as him? Has he come to the U.S.? Have you spoken to him? What
No,
can you tell us about him?
I haven't talked to him since that. But I did have talked to him, but then we stopped talking.
Do you have a good or bad relationship with him?
Um, we don't usually talk that much.
Do you think he's involved in this?
I don't think so, because he's in Mexico.
Is he still there?
Yes.
He hasn't come here? You
No,
know?
he can't because he doesn't have the money to come.
Noema, could you share with us what your son said to you when he ran back to the car?
He didn't run back to the car. He was just standing there, crying.
And what did he say in those initial
He doesn't
moments?
talk.
He doesn't talk.
No.
So he was crying.
He was just crying. When I went up to him and I asked him, where's your sister? He just pointed behind the buildings. That's it. Because he can't speak still.
And did he still have his ice cream?
No, his ice cream was already in the food. La verdad no saben lo que sentimos por mi nieta, pero yo suplico a la persona que lo tiene. Por favor, devuélvelo a mi familia. Espero que ustedes no pasen lo que estamos pasando sin ella. No podemos dormir. Me asomo en la ventana, miro si alguien toca la puerta, que diga que aquí está tu nieta, pero desde que ella desapareció no puedo dormir, no puedo comer pensando en ella. Yo no sé por qué lo hicieron. Ella tiene 5 años. No tiene la culpa de nada, por favor. Quien sea, mira a la niña, no tiene la culpa de nada. Te suplico que lo devuelves, por favor. Déjala en una tienda donde lo vean para que regrese con bien, por favor. Te suplico, te lo ruego.
So basically, in this press conference, Dulce's mother cleared some things out and informed the public what's going on with her daughter's case. Dulce's grandmother, as you can see, was not doing well. I mean, no grandmother would. The relationship between my mom and my nieces, it's very strong. So I can I can't imagine what the grandma's going through. The grandma basically talked about like they can't sleep at night. She was pleading if somebody could give her back, leave her off in a store or something, just please give me back my granddaughter. She looks through the door sometimes and she waits for somebody to knock her door and say, hey, we found your daughter, but it hasn't happened yet. She says that Dulce is just an innocent young girl. She doesn't deserve this. And she just basically overall just pleads the public for somebody to come forward and say something. Then on October 15, 2019, a sketch of a possible suspect was released to the public. Now, if you remember, I was talking about a red van being involved. Supposedly, according to the mother, people saw, and she believes that Dulce was lured into a red van with tinted windows and sliding doors. Now, about the suspect is a light-skinned, maybe Hispanic man. He's thin-built, has a clean face, so no beard or anything. He is about 5 feet 6 inches to 5 feet 8 inches. According to witnesses, was wearing a black shirt, red pants with orange sneakers. And people believe he's the one that lured Dulce into the red van. But he hasn't been found yet, sadly, and this is still an ongoing investigation. The community isn't losing faith. They're still out there looking for Dulce. Then on Friday, December 6th, Dulce's mother, Noema, did a sit-down interview with Dr. Phil, and I'll let you see that.
Where do you think she is?
I'm not sure.
Do you think she's alive?
Yes.
You think she's okay?
I don't know.
Do you think somebody's taken her that you know? Do you think it's maybe family or somebody that...
I'm not sure because the police already talked to all my family members.
And they didn't...
They haven't found nothing.
You said there was a point at which the police thought that you and your family were behind this, right?
Yes.
They suspected you?
Yes.
What did they say to you?
They didn't saw me crying when that happened. Because I don't know why I don't cry in front of people. I'm not sure why. Just when I'm by myself. I don't even cry in front of my parents.
When people go into shock, sometimes they're just numb and they don't emote. But when all of these things are floating around and people have theories and thoughts and beliefs, the police suspected that you and your family were involved in this. Why did they suspect that? She should be acting differently. She's not acting right, so she must be in on it. Was that their thinking?
Yes, I just couldn't believe what was happening. It was like unreal.
Did they ask you to take a polygraph?
Yes.
Did you?
Yes.
And what were the results?
They didn't tell me.
They didn't tell you the results?
No.
So they clearly were suspicious. And they ask you questions.
Yes.
Questions just straight up. Did you set up your own daughter's kidnapping?
Yes.
They ask you that. Did you set up your own daughter's kidnapping? Did you?
No.
Did they ever ask you if you tried to sell your daughter?
Yes, but no.
They did ask you. They just asked you straight up, did you try to sell your daughter? Why do you think they asked you that?
Because a rumor came out.
Because people have speculated that you went to a park with no cameras, not a single soul around. And some people found that suspicious. And the reason I'm asking you about them is so you can put them to rest. So people have wanted to ask you, did you do this? Did you sell your daughter? Are you involved in her abduction? Do you know who has her? I'm asking those questions so people can hear you from your own lips say the answer to those questions, and you've answered them.
No.
You did not sell your daughter,
No.
correct?
No.
You don't know who has her.
No.
You're not involved in her abduction.
No.
Has anyone attempted to contact you since then to say, we want money or anything of the sort?
No.
When this sit-down interview came out, people who already were theorizing that the mother had something to do with it felt like they were even more right. They thought that the way she was acting during the interview was not how a mother should be acting. And in the interview, Dr. Phil talks about how police were pointing on her that she might have done it, and she talks about how she did a polygraph and she hasn't gotten the results yet. So it basically tells us that people and the law enforcement thinks she might have something to do with it, but she stays to her statement saying that she had nothing to do with it. Since then, multiple searches have been conducted, but none of them brought any clues or closure to the family, sadly. So this case, again, is still an ongoing investigation. Bridgetown isn't that far from, if you go to VHS, it's not far from where we are. And it's just really sad. The last update has been on April, the family celebrated Dulce's birthday through a Zoom because of, this whole COVID-19 situation. So many speculate that it is the man that is sketched. Others believe it's the mother that had something to do with it. I mean, I'm not pointing fingers or anything. I'm not sure at this point. My mom is familiar with the case and everything, but at the end of the day, we have to realize that a young 5-year-old was snatched, taken from her family, and there's still no closure to this case. We don't know whether she is trafficked somewhere. We have to face reality. She could be dead, but there is no closure yet, sadly. So this is for my Genius Hour project, but if you're somebody that doesn't go to my school and isn't doing a project or something, if you know anything about her case, you could call the New Jersey State Police Missing Persons Unit, which is 609-882-2000. Or you could call the Bridgetown Police at 856-451-003. If you have any tips or know anything about her, anything is helpful. I specifically chose this case because she's a young Hispanic American. I'm Hispanic American too. I was born in the United States, but my roots go back to South America, and it's very sad seeing somebody from your community. Now, she isn't from my community especially, but all of us Hispanics feel connected in some way, and it's sad seeing a young little girl go missing. So again, any tips, call the number that I just said, and that's all for my Genius Hours project, and I hope you guys have a nice day. Stay safe. If you have kids, take care of your kids, because you never know. People out there have horrible intentions. We live in a world where it isn't rainbows and butterflies, and as kids sometimes think that the world is rainbow and butterflies, but it's not. It's completely the opposite. So yeah, thank you if you watched my podcast and understood my annoying voice. Thanks. Take care, y'all.